Yeah, this is Peter Miroski, the nurse, and I want to make this video today to discuss on why Mary Jane Watson from the Spectacular Spider-Man show could have been the best superhero love interest of all time, and why Gwen from the Spectacular Spider-Man isn't the best love interest in the Spectacular Spider-Man show. I know people will go off on me for saying this, but the truth has to be spoken. But first, I want to address that yes, MJ played by Kirsten Dunst is trash, and Gwen Stacy played by Emma Stone is an angel. Mwah. But people seem to forget is that it's the complete opposite in the comics. In the comics, MJ is the angel like Emma Stone's Gwen is. And Gwen is the crybaby like Kristen Dunst's MJ. And I know some people will bring up the modern day comics or that freaking abomination called One More Day. Don't bring that up to me. To me that's not canon. If you want to know a true modern Spider-Man comic, I read Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, Renew Your Vows. That's beautiful. Check that out. But that brings me to the topic of why MJ from the Spectacular Spider-Man is a way better love interest than the Gwen from the Spectacular Spider-Man. First things first, Gwen is not that supportive of Peter. From the beginning of the show, Gwen is introduced as one of Peter's best friends. Yet through most of season 1 is Gwen showing that she's not that supportive of Peter. Sure, she defends Flash from his water balloons, but let's be clear, Gwen knows that Peter needs it to make some money to help his Aunt May because Uncle Ben was killed recently. But when Peter gets pictures of the lizard so he can get the job from the Bugle, so he can get paid to help Aunt May, Gwen does not back him up at all. And when Mrs. Connors fired him, when Mrs. Connors fired him, yes, you can say that it looked bad, Peter taking those pictures. But Gwen didn't even bother to say anything at all. All she did was turn around with Eddie without saying a word. In the next few episodes, she wants Peter to go to the formal with her, but instead of asking her like a normal person, she just keeps dropping small hints instead of just asking him outright. And when Peter says that he's not going to the dance. This would be perfect for Gwen to tell him that she wants to go with him. Instead, she just calls it a stupid formal and acts mopey about it the whole time. Then at the formal, when Peter shows up with MJ, she acts mopey again and goes, "Oh, I guess he did. Oh, I guess he meant he wasn't coming with me." And then she's actually happy that MJ won the formal without Peter. What the heck? Then when Aunt May has a heart attack, she seems to think that holding Peter's hand is going to help him pay the hospital, and Gwen says she doesn't know how to help. Yet her dad is a police captain who makes lots of money, and she never even once considered asking him to help Peter. Then at the end of season 1, she kisses him instead of just telling Peter that she likes him, and instead of telling Peter she likes him and just asking him out, she just plays this will or won't trope and gets up his butt for not talking about it. And the rest of season 2, she's basically blue-balling Peter while he's dating Liz, and Gwen is dating Harry. And then at the end of season 2, they agree to break up with their respective partners. Of course, Peter breaks up with Liz, which that scene is hard to watch because Liz did deserve better than that. I mean, she dumped Flash for him and all that, and she never really got up him for taking off to take pictures for the Bugle, right? But Gwen, on the other hand, Gwen does not break up with Harry at the end of season 2 because she lets him guilt her into staying with him after his father's death. I'm sure if you watch the show, you already know he's not actually dead. Sure, she could have told Harry that she would support him, but as a friend, as some girls like to say to some guys. But no, she stays with Harry, humiliated my boy Peter Parker after he broke up with Liz. That is absolutely pathetic. I don't care what anyone says about it. That you don't do that. They made a pact, and she did not go through with it, which is, being honest, really cowardly in my opinion. Now let's get to the GOAT herself, Mary Jane Watson. Now, unlike Gwen, MJ is not introduced as one of Peter's old friends. Instead, she's introduced through a blind date set up by their aunts, just like in the comics, and also, of course, the 90s show. And of course, Peter doesn't want to do it because she has a wonderful personality as he goes the whole time. But after he meets her, man, you can feel the spark when they first meet. And MJ hits him with her iconic line that Kristen Dunst never said, even though she says tiger, but she never says the actual line. And that beautiful line, "Face it, tiger, you just hit the jackpot." And from this moment on, MJ has been the best support for Peter for the show. At the formal, Flash tries to humiliate Peter by bringing up the bet they had if 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 Peter didn't bring a date, he would wear a cheerleader dress, and if Peter did bring a date, then Flash would have to wear it. You hear it, but MJ sees right through this, and she tells Flash that she hopes that he's got the legs for the skirt, and just grabs Peter's hand, just walks off with him, and just says, "Come on, Tiger, let's hit the dance floor. I want to see what you got." And they have a lot of fun. Flash is trying to show off, but they don't care. They're just having a lot of fun dancing together. And when Peter says he has to take pictures for the Bugle, MJ doesn't get mad, cranky, or anything. Instead, she just wants him to come back as soon as possible because he owes her one more dance. And even after winning the formal queen at the formal, and everyone has left, like there's no one there except for her, MJ stayed behind and told Peter they still had one more dance together. And this is when Peter said, he blew it, and MJ says, "No, you didn't blow it at all." And man, that is wife material right there. And when you really think about it, that's what a wife does. And yeah, she's just being a girl at the formal for him. That's amazing if you think about it. Yes, in the next episode, she turns Peter down, but not because she doesn't like Peter, but because of how messed up her parents were in their marriage, and she doesn't want to get hurt the same way her mother did. Because if you know anything about MJ's parents from the comics, is that they had a pretty messed up marriage, and obviously MJ's father, Philip Watson, abused them, and her sister. I'm not sure if she has a sister in the Spectacular Spider-Man show, but it wouldn't surprise me if she does. Oh, damn. Sorry. But regardless of this, she continues to show support and care for Peter, like wanting Pete to be the first one that she tells that she's transferred to his school. And then when she goes on a date with Eddie, and then Eddie insults Pete, MJ defends Peter like a champ and says, "Peter may not be perfect, but whatever his flaws, he is twice the man you will ever be." And later in that episode, she goes to Peter and tells him that mate had a heart attack, in pure concern, just holds his hands like this on his porch, and just tells him what happened. That's really beautiful. That's really beautiful. And later on, MJ gives Peter a warning about Eddie and tells him to be careful. And then later on, she gets the other students to help Spider-Man save Gwen from falling to her death, because it was Venom or Eddie, or whatever you want to call him, hanging from this floating gorilla or something, so she could fall to her death. And in season 2, MJ has caught on, or of course she caught on in season 1, and by season 2, MJ has caught on that Gwen likes Peter and has been trying to hook them up and support them, even giving Peter friendly advice, and he just rizzes her up straight away, saying, "Don't you suppose you'll help a poor, helpless boy? Yes, get through all this?" Which is, in her reaction is funny, by the way. And unlike Kristen Dunst, MJ, that hates Gwen, played by Dallas Howard, beautiful. And yes, MJ does go out with Mark in season 2 as a casual thing, but she begins to really. My apologies about that. That was one of my dogs. Yes, MJ does go out with Mark as a casual thing, but she begins to really care about him. But when he turns into Molten Man and he's trying to kill Spidey, MJ does what she can to stop him. And some people will say she doesn't know that Peter is Spider-Man, but as it turns out, that's not entirely true. It's been confirmed from what I've read, is that just like in the classic Spider-Man comic Parallel Lives, which is a great comic, check it out. This MJ has known that Peter's Spider-Man from the night Uncle Ben was killed. She saw him go into his house, just like in the comics, and saw him take off in the middle of the night out of his window. Whew. So this means MJ chose to help Spider-Man save Gwen from falling to her death, because she doesn't want Peter to lose Gwen, and she's trying to stop Mark because she doesn't want to lose Peter, or anyone else losing Peter because of Mark's stupidity and his gambling and all that kind of stuff. If you've watched the show, you know what I'm talking about. And let's face it, if she's this supportive as just a friend for Peter, imagine herself as Peter's girlfriend or his wife. And now that's the final nail in the coffin. It has also been confirmed from what I know, is that Gwen, after season 2, Gwen stopped believing in Spider-Man, even though Spider-Man saved her life, who knows how many times. But this is most likely because of her dad's death that was supposed to happen, and then Harry's bad influence, because you know anything about Harry. Harry's just a whiny little bitch in this show. And when she finds out, and most likely when she finds out Peter is Spider-Man, she'll most likely leave New York, and Peter's just left heartbroken again. But then MJ will come in to support him, and of course this would lead to Peter and MJ getting closer and then starting falling in love with each other, and of course that would eventually leads to them getting married at the end of the series, at the end of the college trilogy that was supposed to be planned. And it would not surprise me if before Gwen leaves, MJ would tell Peter about her past, like her father, her mother, and possibly her sister if she's in this universe, which no adaptation has ever done MJ's sister, which I'm quite surprised by that. Well, I shouldn't be that surprised because a lot of adaptations of MJ are not that great. Ugh. Oh. And obviously, yes, of course, they were going to get married, just like in the comics, and that was always the show's intention. Like, the creators have said this many times before, like, Rez Wiseman, I think his name is, he said many times that Peter and MJ were supposed to be the endgame couple, so, and to me, this is why Mary Jane Watson from the Spectacular Spider-Man could have been the best superhero love interest we have ever seen in shows, movies, games, whatever you want to call it, or whatever you want. That her and that Peter Parker could have been the best superhero couple of all time. I mean, this, in my opinion, you don't agree with this, that's fine. But in my opinion, from what I've seen, if they didn't cancel the show and they went through with this Peter Parker and this Mary Jane Watson could have been the GOAT superhero couple of all time. They would have even, I'm going to say it, I'm going to say it, they would, in my opinion, they would have surpassed Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man and Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy. Don't walk away. I know people love them. I love them too. They're great. They have great chemistry. It's a shame their real actors broke up. But let's face it. If you watch the show and you take all what I've said into consideration, this Peter and MJ would have been way better than they would because unlike in movies where they have to do this whole thing where they have to kind of like rush some things, I know that Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone have great chemistry, but they don't really have the really build that a show would. They only have 2 movies, and yeah, her death is sad, but they didn't really have the freaking, I don't know, the trope where the shows can progress things a lot better, and progress things much more better, and make it more clearer. The Spectacular Spider-Man show would have done this because originally they were going to have 5 seasons of this, plus, I think, how many? Yeah, well, 5 straight to DVD films, and they only did 2 seasons, so you can imagine how much progress Peter and MJ would have had in this, or leading up to their marriage. It wouldn't surprise me if they would have started to develop feelings for each other going into season 4, because season 3 could have been most likely just Peter dealing with the whole Gwen situation, the Gwen and Harry situation, and then season 4 could have led to MJ, supporting Peter, telling him about her past, and then they could. Peter sees MJ in a different light than he did before, and then of course they could have led to their first kiss, who knows. And then in the DVD films in Florida or wherever they were going to go, and that between season 4 and season 5, that would have been, they could have eventually truly acknowledged their feelings for each other, and then going into season 5 they could have been together, and then going into the college trilogy, of course they'd still be a couple. Then by the end of that trilogy, they would have gotten married by the end of that season, and we could have seen a real Peter and MJ marriage. I know we got something in the 90s show, but let's face it, that was the clone. That was that water clone, which could kind of tank that, to be honest. But this would have been a real Peter and MJ marriage. And I know they did a 90s continuation of the show, they did a comic series that follows the 90s show, and the real Peter and MJ did get married. But I'm talking about animation, and this would have been the perfect one. So yeah, that's why, that's why Mary Jane Watson from the Spectacular Spider-Man show is the GOAT. And I hope you have lots of fun watching this. If this has been Pee-wee Morosky, the Nerdster, please like and subscribe, and thank you, and have a great day.